passport and he's out. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the looks. It has everything to do with personality.
No. But y'all don't do that. Y'all don't do that because our money and
see that man?
Stop talking over me.
But would you say that man is family?
Let me ask you a question, Edgar. Why are the passport bros not going to Sweden, Switzerland, Germany? Why are they going to Colombia, the Philippines, Malaysia, African countries? Why are they going there and not to Europe?
Because that's the choice that they choose.
No,
not every man. It can't be the wrong answer because you can't tell everybody where
they're modeled like the West. They're modeled like us, and they're not going to stand for their bullshit. So they go to these very, very poor countries where your $50,000 means the world in a third world country. And they bring them back here, and the women are subservient, and they do everything the man wants, but let me kid you not, when the women get a little education and an employment and learn the language, they might not frickin' stay. They use the men, the American.
So right there, there's some validity to what she's saying, but she's missing a lot of the mark, where it's not just about, it's very easy to say it's about a money thing. It's about a $50,000 goes farther, in a different country, in a third world country. But what she hit on is like, these men aren't going to Sweden, Germany, or Europe. They are, but they're modeled after the West. They're westernized nations, and westernized nations are part of what these men are leaving to experience. It's not just about currency. If you could take that same sort of attitude, right, that men are saying that they want that femininity, and it was readily available, that beauty, that femininity was readily available here, yeah, they would just stay. You wouldn't have to go and leave to go get, in a sense of a market. You wouldn't have to go and leave to find a different market to get what you want. If it's there and in abundance, there's no reason to leave. This is a easy example of when you don't look inward, where you can't really take accountability and even leave the chance open that, hey, I may be the problem. I may be part of the issue here. If men are saying, and especially it's not just average men, it's well-to-do men, it's high-earning men who are saying, yeah, in a global market, if I can leave and get the thing I want, I'm going to leave and get the thing I want. If you can't take just a small chance and look and say, outside of money, if I were just to compare the average in America versus the average in one of these other countries, in terms of beauty standards, in terms of fitness standards, in terms of femininity standards, just looking at that on that perspectives, you'd see, oh yeah, we fall short. If we were paying attention to what the men are saying that they're looking for, then we'd realize we fall short. But the first rejoinder, the first rebuttal you always get against that is saying, as soon as I get an education, yeah, men aren't sticking here because you have a great education. They're not going over there because they're not educated. They're like, no, it's the femininity that they're looking for. It's the beauty that they're looking for. It's the, hey, I'm willing to submit. It's the old world sort of traditional values they're looking for. Yes, you will see when you remove someone from their culture, and the thing that underpins them and keeps them there, you bring them into Western society. Western society, one of its greatest superpowers it has is the ability to assimilate you, is the ability to take you and strip you of what made your culture special and say, adopt this. We've got little touches and flavors of what you like, but here, this is how we do it here in the West. You adopt that mentality, and then, yeah, you become just like everyone else there. Part of you adopting that mentality is you eating the way we eat, you being more sedentary in your lifestyle. The convenience is part of it. Letting go of your culture for the convenience is and also for the ability to be upwardly mobile. Yeah, these things are part of the package that for generations, America has been phenomenal at doing. But part of the issue, part of what we don't talk about is personality-wise. Screeching, screaming. Yeah, no one wants to say, this is so attractive. There's probably a weird fetish out there, weird kink out there for somewhere, but in the main, most men aren't saying this is what I want to be with. Most men lament that their wives turn into that, right? And we can get into the blame game of how that happens over time, right? This is not that. But they lament seeing this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at. It doesn't have to be a wife. It could be long-term, situation. They just look and say, yeah, I don't want to live like this. If you're just holding those things up, it makes sense why men are saying, yeah, all I need is a passport. All I need is a passport and the will to go somewhere else. Yeah. It's a very real thing. It's a very thing is happening. But listen, before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. Got that in a little later with the ramp up. There's more to this one.
Men, the schmucks as an outlet to get here.
So let me ask you a question.
Because why can't you find what you're looking for here if you're a good man, that is, right? If you're a good man.
Okay, I'll take part of what you said to reason why. Because you said that they take your little $50,000. See, maybe our
because 50, here it doesn't mean
hold
shit.
Hold on. But
real.
Exactly. See, it means it doesn't mean shit
here.
But if you listen, it doesn't mean shit to the women who not accepting and don't see.
Not when I make over six figures.
Wait, hold on. But it doesn't make sense to a woman.
Of course it does.
That fact.
So this is, again, personality wise, this is some of the things that men are looking and saying, this is what I don't want to be part of. I don't want to be subject to this. This is not how I want to spend my free time, or this is not what I find attractive when I'm looking at women. To his argument, and sometimes you have a difference, there's maybe in hindsight, you can look at some of the things differently, but you can't compare this man is making 50,000 versus her making 50,000. No, you're looking at what the other gender values in the other gender and whatever gender they're attracted to. If your money is important to women, then that's what they're judging you on. Men are not saying, oh, you make 50,000, that's great. They're judging you by your temperament, your character, your femininity. So it's not apples to apples. They're trying to sit here and he's trying to debate her on this money thing. No, my money goes longer somewhere else. That's just business. That's good business. Hey, whatever you want to do. You can take it out the passport bro realm. You can look at it in the expat, the retirement realm. In order for you to come to retire in the United States, they're estimating you need upwards of 1 to 1.5. Some estimates put in damn near $2 million for a single adult, right? Especially as the life expectancy continues to rise up, you're going to need that money to last you that much longer. Let alone by then, you're supposed to have already reduced your largest expenses as much as possible, i.e. a house. Think about it. Outside of the new 50-year mortgage that, Trump has sort of pushed out there, the 30-year mortgage was supposed to coincide with how many years would it take you to be at work on the job. Where by the time you were done paying your mortgage, you should be entering or retired. Now that's really not the case. People are buying houses later in their life. To the average age now is somewhere from first-time home buyers in their 40s. So a 30-year mortgage is going to get you to 70. By the time you have to retire, you're looking and saying, I didn't save enough. I don't have enough to pay off my mortgage. I don't have enough to last me to the end of my life. Inflation is eating away at so much of my money. You know what makes sense? Why don't I go somewhere where my money now is much longer, where instead of me paying $2,000 for either my apartment or my mortgage, right? And I'm being very, 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 very conservative with those numbers, where you can go somewhere and live in the penthouse, right? Or the three bedroom, 2-bath house, but in this with the lavish pool for $800 to $1,000 a month. With all the amenities, all the things that you want, right? Yes, you don't have the United States feel. You don't have the flavor of the West. You may not have the convenience of Amazon of getting what you want immediately, but there are other plus sides. Your money's going to last you a lot longer. The weather tends to be better. You get away from your money being eroded just because it's in a bank, just because you don't have the time to have it sit in the market and sort of do its thing. You need that money. It can't go up and down anymore. The time to invest is over. You're supposed to be reaping what the harvest by now. There is sense in leaving the West just for monetary reasons. It just also coincides with a lot of these places. They have the traditional sort of values. So men are saying, if that's what I want, and I could stay there, and I could live a better quality of life than I had in the States, why am I staying? That's the argument that he should be bringing. Not just about yelling and screaming when these women, cool, if I'm there and she decides she wants to adopt Western values, cool. There are more, now you're in the minority versus the majority. If you want to become one of these people that are screaming, yelling at him, cool. But I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to deal with this. I can go out and date. There's more of what I'm looking for than not. Here, people, I'm seeing more and more content about, where are the good women? That is becoming the conversation because social media and this sort of screaming sort of behavior is becoming the absolute norm. Men are saying what? I'd rather, and women are saying the same thing, I'd rather be alone and peaceful than with someone that is making me miserable. It's just math at this point. Or you can decide, I want to be with this woman that's screaming her lungs out at me, telling me I need to man up, I need to do better, I need to make more money so I can take care of the woman that's simultaneously saying, I don't need you, I don't want to be with you, I'm independent, but you should still take care of me. It's just business at this point, right? It's the market part of the dating market. But listen, if you disagree, if you got something to add, let me know down in the comments. If you see all the videos on your screen right now, take a look at those. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. I'm trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.